I think I preferred the pre-recorded. Just the safety of like if I say something unhinged, I can rest assured that I'm sure it's gonna.
You don't have to worry about if you say something stupid. You can just cut it out. Because sometimes we yappers. We be saying shit,
Right.
this random stuff. People call us haters sometimes because we be joking around, like talking trash about our character, and people are like, "Why are you hating?" We're like, we're just talking. We've been pretty comfortable with each other since the beginning.
I mean, yeah, me and Dani got comfortable pretty quickly.
Yeah, you guys stuck me right in the middle anyway, so
Yeah, we did.
It worked out.
still don't know how that happened.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Reactorverse podcast brought to you by Passionfruit, where we interview all the creators in the reaction space. I'm joined today by the dynamic trio of Dani, Morgan, and Sam. Thank you so much for being here.
Thank you.
Yes.
Yeah, this is exciting.
Yeah, the React Pact, as you're all known for the last few years, it's been quite a boom that you've had just in a few short years with the channel. I found you early on in the pandemic era when you started, when a lot of channels came in, and sort of followed you since then. And it's been impressive. It's been quite a journey that I've
Yes.
seen you sort of go on just from the beginning to now. And I kind of wanted to just touch upon all of that, everything you went through those few short years. Also, I think this is the first trio that we've had on the show. So
All right.
Oh.
Nice.
I'm trying to think of how I'm gonna format the thumbnail and everything in the layout.
Already thinking about the thumbnail.
Yeah.
Always think about the thumbnail.
Yeah, gotta think ahead.
Yeah.
To start at the beginning, as we always do, being a sort of team effort here, I wanted to ask, how did you all meet? What's the history there?
So actually, Dani and I are sisters, and Morgan and we became friends back in like 2015. We worked at a restaurant together, so that's how we became friends. And then, I pulled both of them into this
Yeah.
idea, and we didn't have anything else better to do during the pandemic.
Right.
Pretty
Yeah.
much.
Did you have any creative outlets for any of you prior to starting the channel?
Well, I was actually, before the channel, I was actually just running an Etsy shop. So I did a lot of art and drawings. Sam and I were running in a amiibo business for a while. We were selling Animal Crossing, custom amiibos.
Right.
So I did all the art for that.
Yeah. And then I went to school for art in college. So kind of did that, during that time I was painting and drawing a lot, but after graduation, the passion kind of died for that, but I was still doing a lot of graphic design work. And then, when we started the channel, I felt like I was finally able to be creative again. So that was nice.
I never went to school for art. I always dabbled in crafting hobbies, but never anything as intense as Dani and Sam have done with the graphic design and stuff. But I do learn from them every day, different kinds of how they see things in their creative ways has definitely opened my mind to other their graphic design knowledge is crazy.
Yeah, you pick those things up through osmosis, those type of just sort of shared skills of seeing how things look between one another. And the channel started as sort of a quintessential example of, what we called the reactor boom that happened in the pandemic. There was a lot of people who were stuck at home and were just I need to reach out somehow. I can't go anywhere. I can't really do anything. So I might start this channel to sort of connect people. And we've seen a lot of channels sort of thrive through that. Yours being one of those channels for sure. You were flight attendants. I believe that was the vocation that you had before starting, and you were stuck at home and you started the channel for that reason. Can you break down, what was that like, that experience, going into the lockdowns and then having the idea of to get the channel going?
Yeah, actually, Morgan and I worked for the same airline during the time. And yeah, I mean, they were cutting back hours, obviously. And, we were kind of unsure, what was going to happen for us job-wise. I think my plan before all of that happened, I wanted to get my pilot's license. That was like my main goal. And I was like, already, I was starting to do a lot of the research and finding, like, I was thinking about going through my airlines program for pilot school. And I was like getting ready to start in 2020. And yeah, and it became too unknown and it wasn't a good feeling. Luckily enough, our airline didn't end up having to furlough anyone, but we didn't know if that was going to happen.
Yeah, the whole switch, like I had just started the airline job. Like as soon as I was like past my like training period, that's when everything kind of like fell. So, I was excited to start something new, especially, with Sam. We've worked together for as long as I've known her. I mean, we met at work, so then there was another opportunity to like build off of that, and it was hard. It was very scary to switch from like a career as a flight attendant to doing something that's maybe like it could flop the next day. It wasn't as secure as a flight attendant, but I'm really happy that we made that jump. Like we had to just put all in because us doing both was killing us.
Oh yeah, I can't believe you guys did that for a while too.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were juggling both for a moment, and it was just like being a flight attendant in itself is already a lifestyle. So it already takes up so much time, and then, having to be all together to create content was just in a lifestyle and on its own. It was just those two couldn't mix very well.
No.
Yeah, I can imagine. And where did the idea to start the channel specifically come from for the reactions specifically? Did you know about the reaction space prior to that? Was something you already had an idea to get into before the lockdowns and everything?
So I actually didn't really know too much about reaction channels. But what had happened was, being at home a lot, at the time I had moved in with my parents because I was house hunting and I didn't want to sign a new lease. And it was actually ended up being perfect timing because then the pandemic happened, and then I was blessed to be able to be at home and have somewhere to be. And I was rewatching Avatar: The Last Airbender with my parents. It was a show that we grew up on, and our parents love it. And we didn't really have anything else to do because we were stuck at home, so we rewatched it as a family. Right. And I guess my phone, they can hear you talk like about things, and then I started getting Avatar reactions on my phone. And I was like, oh, that's such a great idea. That seems fun. Like I could do that.
Yeah.
And I threw the idea to Morgan. We would go work out together, and yeah, just a lot of talking about doing it. And then one day we just were like, okay, let's just sit down, record an episode of Demon Slayer and just see what happens from there.
Yeah, those algorithms really helped out. The one listening to you.
I was the one who recommended Demon Slayer as the first video.
Yeah.
As a reaction video.
It took a little bit to convince Dani. She did like our logo and our graphic work, but she wasn't like totally on board quite yet because she's just like, I don't know. She had good reasons why it probably would be like a waste of time. But
I've always been a big person on YouTube, and I know how hard it is to like make it on YouTube. So in my head, I'm like, that's like impossible. That's always like a dream to like have a career as a YouTuber. So I was like, yeah, that's no way that's gonna work.
All right.
And then it was like picking up. I'm like, shit.
Shit.
Yeah, I know, Dani, you were helping out behind the scenes, with modding some of the graphical elements. Was there any significant, reservation you had beyond just like, the sort of idea of it working out, but like, getting in front of the camera? Was there any sort of adjustment for yourself to cross that threshold from behind the scenes to in front of the camera?
Oh, yeah, I was really nervous the first few recordings. I think a lot of people like thought I was like very quiet. So probably by the time I like start getting comfortable, start yapping all the time, it's probably a big change. Because the first few ones, I don't talk very much. But
comfortable yapping.
You started with anime reactions, as you mentioned, and anime is such a sort of huge staple of the channel now. I guess collectively, what is the sort of experience you had with anime prior to the channel?
Oh, I didn't have any experience. I watched like Pokemon or Avatar: The Last Airbender, if you would, consider those anime. But I never really delved into the world of anime. Mm-hmm. I've been learning a lot. So
that's good. Yeah, that's exactly what you want to be when you start a channel like this. Yeah.
I grew up with Pokemon, so I guess, that was my first anime. I hadn't watched anything besides that. Like I never got into Sailor Moon or Dragon Ball Z, which also were popular during my youth. And high school came around, and I remember seeing like Naruto on Toonami, and it was like one of those things that I was kind of like teasing it a bit, like, oh, this is so silly, believe it, this kid yells believe it, and then I just got sucked into it, and I was like, what the heck? And like I had caught up to whatever the dub had aired during that time, and then I'm like, wait, there's more episodes, but it's in Japanese. I'm like, I don't think I can wait for like the English one to come out. So I started watching in Japanese, and I got Dani and Nicole and our other sister Nicole into watching it. And then I kind of left for college and didn't really have too much time to dive into more anime. And I think Dani and Nicole took the reins from there.
Oh yeah, I never stopped. Because I watched it so young. I was like, probably like started watching anime like 3rd, 4th grade, like something stupid young. Like most kids didn't even know like the shows I was talking about and stuff. And then like I was watching Japanese subs at such a young age too because of that. And I just kept watching them. And I watched it all the way through college. I started cosplaying like my senior year of high school. I still do it, but not as much as I used to like in college. Mm-hmm. But like, yeah. So when we first started the channel, that's another reason I wasn't really into videos, because a lot of the shows I had already seen.
Right.
Even now, we still kind of run into that issue where I'm like, oh, I seen that like forever ago.
Yeah. It's a very similar experience. I grew up with Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh!, Dragon Ball Z, all those sort of like, like big, easily accessible shows. And then I found Naruto in high school. Randomly, I found the first volume manga just sitting on a shelf in my school library. Like someone had left it there, I guess. So I picked it up, I got really into it, and then I took off from there. And it was the same progression. It's you start it, get through the dub, I want to see more, get to the subs, and you're like, I want to see more. So you start reading the manga, I started reading ahead, and stuff like that. So it's the same sort of progression that I think a lot of people get into. And for the channel itself, though, Morgan, as you mentioned, coming into it sort of fresh and like not knowing a lot of like sort of the background of it, besides what you've been exposed to, were there any significant, sort of like tropes or like learning curves you had with the material to like sort of get used to?
Yeah, tropes were something that was very new to me. I guess just like
I was thing.
Right, there's like different different innuendos that kind of they used to go over my head, but now I get it. I'm able to like you pay attention, you start to look at like the smaller details. I look at everything now. I feel like when we were first watching it, it was very like broad, and now I'm like, that means something. I know that means something. So
we had to be like, oh, when somebody sneezes, that means somebody's talking about them. Yeah. And those are things I had like learned from Dani and stuff. Yeah. So I was like, oh, that's something I know. But Morgan watched Avatar: The Last Airbender too, and even though that's not anime, they did like a lot of the anime expressions sometimes, like every here and there, like the silly like big faces or like when they yell and stuff. So I guess she was kind of familiar with that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I mean it's fun. I think learning about it. The whole I think what it was the tropes that I'm getting more knowledge about, because Dani will go into detail about, or like, what is shonen like a type of trope? I still don't know.
Shonen is like a manga series.
A series,
yeah. It's like serialization. So shows fall under shonen if they were published under the shonen magazine, but it's usually for like young teenage boys.
Okay, gotcha. Yeah, that makes sense. So, like, the tropes I'm learning still.
Yeah, there's no problem at all. Yeah, my girlfriend also, I got her into anime this past couple of years with Attack on Titan, similar to what you did for the channel. And I always start with that for anyone just because it's a very grounded type of show. It doesn't have as many of the tropes as like some others do with like the nose bleeding and some of the comedic elements. So I think that's a really good gateway for a lot of people. But she was the same boat. She was like, this anime is just Pokemon. It's just Yu-Gi-Oh. She didn't really know, and she was pretty horrified by the first couple episodes. So that was a good way
I
to
bet.
just jump
Not
into
for
it.
kids.
Yeah. And for the channel, your anime also comes with a lot of particularly troublesome copyright issues. For a lot of channels, were there any sort of hard roadblocks you ran into getting started with the channel with all those anime shows that you began with?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I would say it was hard to find like the sweet spot, but also also wanting to respect the series itself. I just wish that, American fair use, would also come to play for, a show that exists in Japan,
Right.
with the limit to 10 minutes, or I think it is.
Mhm.
But yeah, it was definitely hard to find like that sweet spot without like putting too much anyway, because we shouldn't be doing that, but then like being able, at least for our viewers to be able to follow along to what we're
Right.
watching.
Yeah.
But
A lot
yeah,
of
we
trial and
got
error.
hit with copyright strikes, of course, and yeah, it's not always fun.
No.
It can be tough, and I've known many channels who started their channels and had to start a couple more because they couldn't really get past those strikes, those early strikes that they're as you're figuring things out. So I'm glad you're able to get past that. But beyond that, were there any sort of distinct learning curves in terms of technical aspects, recording, editing, stuff like that, but also just the on camera presentational aspect of just getting comfortable and learning how to articulate yourself with the material?
I would say that none of us really knew anything about like video production. I think Danny and I's talent kind of fell into more of like the visual art kind of side of things.
Yeah.
So learning all the audio and video editing. I mean, Morgan self-taught, like she's great at video editing. I think Danny had some experience with video editing before.
Mostly animation stuff, but it's like similar programs I'm used to. Like all the Adobe programs, I'm very used to that.
Yeah,
So,
I
like-
only knew like Photoshop and
Yeah.
like maybe InDesign. But I mean, Morgan, if anything, Morgan has probably the most to say about this.
A lot of YouTube videos.
Right.
YouTube is a great place to learn. Again, a lot of trial and error. We switched. We started off, smaller because, when you want, it was before, we were gaining too much momentum. So, we started off with like cheaper microphones, and then, we used to make sure like we were still recording. I used to look in this little tiny like compact mirrors to make sure that we were still recording.
Right.
So we've come a long way. We've done a lot more research, and now we're getting used to like more equipment and stuff.
I forgot about the mirror. We had to like angle it so that we could see the phone, like it's still recording. But then we figured out a way to connect the camera to a laptop so we can see it
Right.
through the laptop screen.
Right.
Oh my
'Cause
god!
it's- yeah.
I forgot about that.
Because we had issues with our footage just stopped recording. We didn't even realize, and we just
Yeah.
would keep
Yeah.
going.
Right.
That's like
was-
precious footage.
Yeah, it wasn't that thing where it stopped recording after like 30 minutes.
Oh,
We were
it was
using a DSL camera at first, and that was only able to record like 10 minutes at a time, and that
Right,
was just
yeah.
a nightmare.
I've definitely seen that with people that I've helped edit with, having to get up and like hit stop, record again, hit stop, record again, like 4 or 5 times in a reaction to sync up. And has your understanding of the skills evolved over the years? Are there sort of new sort of things that you apply that you wish you could have done back when you first started?
I think that, Sam is good with our audio when we're recording. She's like pretty much a whiz at the recording software for our audio. And then when we're editing now, if there's any kind of like mishap with audio, I think that we're able to like think it through better and problem solve because we have more knowledge about like our software that we're using and the equipment that we're recording with.
Right.
Definitely picked up skills I never thought I would be using or needing. So, I mean, I feel blessed because I'm like, dang, it's something else that I know how to do.
Yeah. We mentioned, starting out with all the sort of big names for the channel: Attack on Titan, Demon Slayer, Jujutsu Kaisen, really big sort of shows that help kick off things, I think, really strongly. Attack on Titan in particular is interesting because you had a lot of runway with it by the time you started. It had been on since about 2013, 2014 because of all the gaps it had taken, but you had a lot of the material to sort of to jump off with. What was that like, I guess, getting into it, and for yourself, Dani, also going along with them, having seen some of the episodes ahead of time, and like sort of like balancing that dynamic of the three of you experiencing it for the first time, and also Dani seeing it with them and trying not to spoil anything, I guess.
I only sat in for a couple of the earlier episodes that I had seen, so I wasn't really in it. Definitely did a lot more of the behind scenes for the Attack on Titans until season 4. That's the one I hadn't watched at all. Mm-hmm. But it was fun because I kind of knew I could like put like little edits in to like, somewhat hit to the audience. I could like add a little extra because I knew what was coming and stuff. And I kind of had like, so I don't know, I had like a bit more creative freedom when it comes to the editing portion since I knew what they were in for.
Yeah, it was definitely interesting because it started off just me and Morgan for the first 3 seasons, and then Dani joined for the 4th season, and then Nicole and her boyfriend joined. And also Parker is a long-time friend of mine that I've known since college too. So it was really fun to watch the 4th season with them. Where like, there's still, I think it was a good timing for them to come in then, because a lot of the first 3 seasons were a lot of mystery, and then I feel like the 4th season was just like the aftermath of all of it coming together. So it, one thing we were worried about is like, is it going to change like the dynamic or the feeling of the reaction series? But I think it just ended up working out perfectly. Because there wasn't so much more like things to like uncover for the 4th season. But Morgan and I definitely had a lot of fun the first 3 seasons.
Yeah,
bouncing off ideas off of each other.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, the theorizing is definitely the best part of those first couple seasons. And then once you got to, when you caught up with the show where it was at currently airing, you got to sort of be part of the, the level everyone else was at. Did that change any sort of the conversation between, I guess, you on camera, but also the audience and how people were responding to it?
I don't think so. I think it was like new actually for Sam and I to be within like the hype of something coming out, because we watched things like beforehand, like Demon Slayer had already come out. There wasn't any new like hype with it.
Right.
But if anything, it was like more exciting. I don't think it changed like our ideas or how we felt about the show. I think it was just, I don't know, more information and like just more excitement with it.
It was hard having to wait. Attack on Titan did us a little dirty with the waiting. And I mean, do I think it might have been a different experience if all the episodes were already out when we started? I think so. I started I get jealous of people who do start it and they're like going to be able to finish it within a certain amount of time because all the episodes are out. Because, when you take a break, you kind of like it, you get taken out of the story a little bit. So, I mean, I think it is a little difficult sometimes to put yourself right back in, but Attack on Titan does do a really good job of like grabbing you and like sucking you back. But like, I wonder how different it would have been if we were able to just watch it all the way straight through.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah, it definitely impacts, I think, the viewing experience. Like when I spoke to a lot of creators, we did another show called Crossing the Streams where we bring on different channels to talk about a specific subject. We did an episode about Attack on Titan, and I think everyone sort of agreed having those 2 finales would have been a lot different if you were able to watch them back to back, just in terms of like sort of like the intensity and sort of the momentum that you have going into from one to the other. And so I'm happy that yes, a lot of people have it now. The last people I haven't showed yet the show is my parents. I'm going to show it to them hopefully this fall when I go visit them. And I saw they're also releasing the last 2 specials as a movie in theaters this November. So so if we can make it, we're gonna try to bring them to that.
No, that's awesome because I heard that the last 2 They originally wanted to be one big movie, and I guess they were kind of limited with time, so that's why they broke it up. But apparently, like, this movie is supposed to be how it was intended, like with slightly better animation, I guess, and maybe some added scenes. I'm not sure what they're doing, but it's supposed to flow cohesively.
Right.
And much better. I want to watch it. I'll watch it again.
Yeah, that sounds.
I'll be down.
Cool.
Yeah,
I didn't know.
I'm definitely excited for that. And once you started, like you said, catching up to those big shows, Demon Slayer and everything, when you were running, out of like the episodes that you're gonna have as a backlog, did you have any sort of specific strategies or plans on how to sort of expand into other titles and maybe more niche shows that you want to dive into?
Well, we actually have been starting to do like some shows for Patreon only, which has been helped because we're able to get those out a lot faster because they're uncuts, like unedited reactions. So that's like something we just started doing with like smaller shows. So that might be a way for us to have more time to branch out to like the more niche shows that don't get as much love, because we do a lot of our shows through polls. Well, every once in a while we'll hear about a show and get that has like a lot of like people talking about, and we'll just jump right into it just to like see what it's about. But most of the time all of our shows are from polls, but there's still some shows we really want to watch that we haven't got a chance to.
A lot of older ones, like Morgan and I have been wanting to watch Cowboy Bebop and like Code Geass and some other names that I'm like, are we ever gonna get to it? Because there's always gonna be new anime coming out, so it's just like, now we're starting to figure out ways that we can actually start attacking those smaller, forgotten about shows.
Yeah. Is there a balance to finding, trying to hit those backlogs of shows and while trying to also, tackle the new ones that are coming out, in terms of like how you prioritize, a watch schedule and stuff like that?
Well, for shows that come back, so if we watched like Blue Lock is going to be coming back next month, I believe. So those returning shows we'll always watch like the next season. As for like the other ones, it's mostly up to our Patreon members. Whoever votes in that poll is kind of like who's going to go next. And typically, like if there is a newer show, it does like thwart some of the older ones. But if there's usually like a time period where there's not like a new hype for a show, so that one of the older ones will win. Like Heavenly Delusion's a little bit older. It's been on our poll for a minute, and it won recently, so we were able to watch that and finish that.
We watched Parasite too, which was like a show I was like not gonna think was gonna win because it was like so much older, but eventually it did win a poll, and I'm really glad we got a chance to watch it. It was really good.
Yeah, I guess as far as like prioritizing, I think we just make sure that we're able to stay, keep doing this and support ourselves. So we do have to focus on like what people want us to watch, because, there's the ones that are able to like, so we can keep doing this basically. And then when we do have that extra time is when we do maybe extra stuff, like do Patreon exclusive shows. That way we can provide more content without, taking a hit or anything like that.
Yeah. Yeah. Definitely be a minefield.
Yeah.
Trying to navigate some of these shows. And you pick them up as you go along. Was there any significant point where you had any early feedback or traction where you realized like, hey, we are really sort of tapping into something here, so we should start sort of like committing ourselves to keeping this up?
Ooh, I mean, we were lucky to get monetized within, it was definitely less than 2 weeks. I want to say within the week. I think that's when we realized we're like, oh, we need to really, put good effort and provide, quality reactions and really put our money where our mouths are. I think, just some things that we learned, like taking it more seriously. I think Morgan and I were like drinking wine in like the first 3 episodes of Demon Slayer, like, and we're like, we cannot do that again, because we are not focused. Like, people want to see us really be able to critically think about the series that we're watching. So it was definitely an eye-opening experience, and it made me, I feel like I never really watched shows like this where I'm like really critically thinking, because if you're binging, you're just kind of like going to next one, and you're kind of letting the show tell you. But with this, it's been so much fun to be able to like discuss and, you know, talk about real life events and how, you know, maybe something like that correlates to what we're watching. And it's definitely, I feel like I've become more in tune with, you know, these important themes.
Right.
Also, to build off of what Sam said, that's why we brought out the notebooks too. We wanted to make sure that we were paying attention. I write down probably every name that I hear just to be like accurate. But also, I think something else that we noticed is like, if you think of something while we're watching, we like to write it down and then talk about it in the discussion. And I think that really helps us like stay in the moment of whatever is happening in the show and then discussing it later to like just try to digest it, I guess.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, it's been very important for larger sort of channels like this. You know, I know Blind Wave does the same exact thing. They have notebooks that they write things down and save for the end discussion, because you can lose things amongst 3 to 5 people of trying to, you know, have a thought, but also not run over the show and find that balance. I just spoke with TBR Schmidt, another channel this past week, about that evolution of learning how to engage with the material and sort of like finding the mix of improv with multitasking and like just like being engaged, but also giving back to the camera as well at the same time. Over the years doing it, have you developed any significant, you know, skills or traits you think that help you in that regard?
I would like to say it helped with public speaking, but I don't know if I've ever put that to the test recently. I feel more comfortable like filming now. I know it's not easy at first. You feel very awkward. But now I think over time, I feel a little bit more comfortable.
Okay, I used to hate watching like the videos back of us. Now I'm so used to it, like reviewing any edits or editing things myself. I used to like cringe like at anything I would say or what I was doing. But now I'm just...
I think it's made me a little more emotionally intelligent, because like anime is very... like a lot of it has a unique way of I'm trying to like put it into words, but just like a lot of live action shows can't always do that too. But I just feel like every anime is just that we've had to watch or gotten to watch is just so intelligent, especially when it comes to, you know, emotion and all that. And I think watching anime has actually affected me in that way, that made me kind of start thinking of things a little bit more deeper and just like symbolism and parallels and perception. I just feel like it's definitely kind of unlocked a door in my brain where I kind of start to see the world a little differently too. And I feel like Attack on Titan is probably one of the biggest shows that has done that for me.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yeah, I've definitely gone over Attack on Titan several dozens of times with people, just having hour-long conversations about the themes of that show, particularly when it ended. It was just a super impactful conversation to have with everyone that I had watched the show with. And then, you know, once you had, you know, a number of shows under your belt, like, you know, watching different things and sort of trying out different shows, amongst the 3 of you, is there any sort of like specific designated tasks that you have for one another to have? Like you said, Sam does sound, Morgan does a lot of recording or editing. Now, as the years have gone on, have those shifted or changed at all?
We've hired editors, so we do have a team of editors, but Morgan and Dani also do some editing. I do a lot of like the thumbnails and stuff, and yeah, I guess like still also video editing. We're also tapping into TikTok now, so we're doing a lot of like more hands-on type of like skits, or, you know, trying to put forth different ideas through that. But I feel bad. I don't want to talk so much if anybody else wants to take over.
No.
Sorry.
Yeah, we definitely have our roles especially when we first start recording. Like I said, Sam does like the audio. I'll set up the recording. Dani makes sure that we know the summary of the last episode, so when we jump back into it, like we're, you know, refreshed and know exactly like where we want to start and where we want to go with it. we're each learning about TikTok every day. I think that's such a new platform for us that we learn something else about it all the time. Sam does a lot of the uncuts as well, and she's really great with the organization of our Patreon's very organized. We get a lot of compliments on our Patreon. It's very organized.
That's good.
So, yeah.
As time goes on, it's what I've heard from people is it becomes a slippery slope because you start developing those new avenues like TikTok and the Patreon and stuff like that, and quickly it becomes a full-fledged business of having to manage social communities and like rollouts and schedules and stuff like that. Has that become like stable as time goes on, or was that something you sort of picked up pretty quickly once you started getting things rolling?
Like staying on schedule?
Yeah, just like developing the skills to sort of like run the business of having a channel.
Go ahead, sorry.
Sorry. No, you go ahead. Sorry.
I was just gonna say we work ahead. So something that we like to do. We also like our free time a lot, and I love to travel. I think Morgan likes to travel. Dani, I think, likes to travel. Well,
of course, I like to travel.
So being able to keep up with our social lives is also important to us, just for our own mental health. So we work ahead, and if we have a trip coming up, we make sure that we have those the content that's coming out during the weeks that we're gone filmed, ready to go to editors. Like we make sure that we're on top of it, so that we don't like, oh, we're taking a week break, because it's not really fair, especially to those who are on our Patreon, because they put money into it and they subscribe to us. So I would love to say that we haven't missed, like we've never had to take, a week off our schedule. So yeah, we just work ahead. I think working ahead and staying on track and utilizing the calendar that we have, and, making sure when we have events coming up that, it's not going to cause a problem for us. And so far, so good. We'll just make sure that we buckle down and film more if we have to.
Yeah. We also let each other know, like, on our little calendar if, like, a day we're not available, or if we're leaving, or, if there are some days, like, we do, like, Q&As, too, so we'll do those, like, earlier to make sure that that's always, like, done before we get to do anything else.
Yeah, because we also do streaming and stuff, too.
Exactly. I was going to ask that as well. How do you, the difference between streaming and pre-recorded material has sort of definitely shifted because of the pandemic and everyone having the ability to do that. How do you sort of prefer those two, being live streaming as opposed to being in a recorded space?
I think I prefer the pre-recorded. Just the safety of, like, if I say something unhinged, I can rest assured that I'm sure it's gonna if I'm being real. But, like, I still get a little stage fright, before, like, live streams and stuff. Like, it's been 4 years, and I still, like, oh God, I get a little nervous. I don't know why.
You do a little pep
but
talks
it's
before we go
different.
live.
It's different. But once we're, like, in it, it's, like, totally different. It's just, like, starting. It's like,
Yeah, you get the butterflies. I prefer the recorded studio as well.
It's just nice to talk with people directly, but obviously the pre-recorded has a lot more leeway, is less anxiety-inducing. Mm-hmm. Like when Sam said, you don't have to worry about if you say something stupid, you can just cut it out. Because sometimes we be yappers. We be saying shit, right. This random stuff. People call us haters sometimes because we be joking around, like talking trash about our character, and people are like, "Why are you hating?" We're like, we're just talking.
Yeah.
We just can't stop.
Yeah. And as the world has somewhat got back to normal over the last few years, since you've been working with the channel, has there been any significant efforts you've had to make to stick with the channel as you get back to your lives as they were before, or new at least?
Yeah, we definitely don't stream as much as we used to during the pandemic. We definitely had a lot more free time, but yeah. Sorry, Maureen, what were you gonna say?
No, we were able to build like a pretty solid platform, thankfully. So, you know, we just like, if anything, going back to our lives or whatever was just like focusing more on this. But yeah, there was more times to like play games and stuff, and now I feel like we don't have as much time, but that's okay.
Oh, yeah, because we used to play games with our community a lot during the pandemic. So we'd just be playing at home all the time, playing, like, if we weren't filming, we were just playing games with everybody instead. I kind of feel bad that we don't get to do that as much anymore.
But we've been consistent. We've done like either a movie night or a game night every single month with our community since we started. So we have not missed a month. But we used to do game nights every month, but we've been doing more movie nights recently where our community can come join us and watch the movie with us and like, you know, like hanging out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's one stream that has been consistent.
Yeah, I definitely do miss those days. It's almost like college days of hanging out in the pandemic.
Yeah.
Having like everyone to hang out with, to play games with. And yeah, you mentioned movies. Movies, I noticed, aren't a big part of the channel, and that's sort of like an anomaly with a lot of pandemic-based channels. Like people start these channels, and like movies are usually the foundation, and they sprinkle TV shows on top of it. For yourself, is that a preference? Do you just prefer TV formatted viewing over movies, or is it sort of like the technical undertakings that sort of keep you from putting them up on the channel?
I think, I mean, we had to, for movies, you definitely have to like sit down longer to like watch the whole thing. So you have like just, you won't get that like one video pretty much in like that one long recording, while like episodes, we can like get a bunch of episodes done in the same amount of time. And also, I don't know, we started with series, so it's kind of harder for us to like, that's what our patrons are expecting from us mostly, is like series.
Right.
Like we'll do movies every once in a while, but it's like harder to squeeze it in with our already packed schedule. But we've done movies. We've done like Spider-Verse is on our channel. Everything Everywhere All at Once we've done.
Some
We're gonna
anime
do a
movies.
John Wick marathon soon because we did a bunch of John Wick streams.
Yeah.
So
For our
that should
movie
be up.
nights. Yeah.
Mhm.
It
I
is
think
a bigger beast to tackle. Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, you're fine. I was going to say, it's just, I guess there is a technical thing with it because copyright is harder with movies, just because there's more content in it, you know? So it's a little bit easier technically to do like shows. I know we had some issues with our Guardians of the Galaxy where I ended up just putting it in 2 parts.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Like I said, the technical undertaking can be a lot more to get those recorded and put out. That's how I totally understand. And over the years, I guess between the three of you, has the viewing relationship evolved, you know, in terms of like your secondhand, you know, your comments to each other, like the dynamics that you're able to sort of like bounce off of each other with and the banter you're able to have?
I feel like we've been pretty much the same since the beginning. It's that, I mean, I'm sure maybe Dani and Morgan got more comfortable with each other because they had just met through me. But I feel like if maybe it's in, I don't know, it might have improved. Like I just feel so comfortable with them. So I don't know. I just feel like that level of comfort has just always been there. But yeah, I think we're blessed to be able. I think we're funny.
I think that we're funny. I think that we think each other are funny and we're funnier. I think that's good.
I do think we found a good balance too of like, obviously there's times where we shouldn't be joking around, and we found like a better balance with that since like when we first started. And also like the whole writing things down. Like I think at those times we'll like talk over important dialogue, but now we don't do that as much because if we know we have a lot to say, we will save it for the end discussion instead of like blurting out. Because like watching sub, like you had to put a little bit more attention into it, obviously, to like what you're hearing and reading.
Yeah.
But besides that, I mean, I don't feel like what Sam said, we've been pretty comfortable with each other since the beginning.
Good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, me and Dani got comfortable pretty quickly.
Yeah, you guys stuck me right in the middle anyway, so.
Yeah, we did.
It worked out.
Still don't know how that happened.
And yeah, I guess over the years too, you've dabbled in varying levels of people on screen. Sometimes you do solo reactions. You have as many as 5 people on the couch reacting as well. Does that change the dynamic at all between, trying to evoke, commentary by yourself or even amongst like a large group of people?
I find the solo one. I did like solo stream on Twitch watching Haunting of Hill House and I hated it. I need someone to like talk to, even if it's just one person. 5 people, I feel like I was lucky. I was lucky personally because Nicole's my sister and Parker was a long-term friend. Like I've known him forever. Actually longer than I've known Morgan. So it's like I felt super comfortable with them. So I can only speak from my experience, but we all just got along so well. Like I don't know, we all just meld well together. So there was never really anything awkward or like, I don't know how to explain it. I feel like lucky to be able to do this with people I'm close with,
I agree about the solo reactions. They're a little difficult. Dani's really good at like, she can go on stream and she's able to talk like very comfortably. I think it came a little bit difficult for me. So during like the solo stuff, I don't feel like I was as comfortable. But yeah, and then the extended group was great. Everybody is really considerate and they're all very funny and they all have great ideas.
It helps that we all have a relationship outside of, the channel. And I think that helps with, it comes across on screen, I feel like, or through our reactions, just how, close we all are and comfortable. Like we're going to see Nicole and Parker in a couple weeks. Oh, in October, we're going on a trip together because they moved away. So they are unfortunately not really partaking in the channel anymore. Right. But, we're just buddies who sit in front of a camera sometimes.
Yeah. That's good.
Sometimes.
That's how it should be. Hey guys, Eric from Passionfruit. Just wanted to thank you for tuning into this episode of Reactorverse. To everyone who's commented on our videos, shared our work, or otherwise supported the channel, we see you, we appreciate you, and we've got a lot of exciting things coming for the creator community at Passionfruit. If you haven't already, the usual stuff on YouTube always helps us. Hitting that like button and subscribing with the bell so you'll be notified when new videos come out. We also have a bi-weekly Passionfruit newsletter that focuses on the creator industry, which you can sign up for through the link in the video description and the pinned comment. Twice a week, you'll get our best stories, as well as exclusive interviews, expert reviews, and the latest resource guides to help you navigate every stage of the creator journey. We've even got a weekend newsletter on the way, with a curated creator spotlight that focuses on the best online content from the people who make it, you. Thanks again for supporting Passionfruit and Reactorverse and helping make your content your business, and giving love to the people who make the web. And to start wrapping things up here, I guess what has been the biggest obstacle that you've faced with the channel over the years?
Biggest obstacle. It is a lot of tedious work and like it takes up a lot of time, but it's also enjoyable to a certain extent.
You gotta like take care of it like every day. Every day, we try to think of things to update or improve or like be able to bring more things into the channel. I would say a hard part that I found was some comments at first. You have to kind of like, you have to know that like not to take them so personally. And I think that was a little bit of a challenge at first.
Oh yeah, the negative comments.
Right.
Yeah.
I would say when people ask me what I do as a job, that
it's hard to explain.
Having to explain that because I don't like, it's awkward. Like I'm a YouTuber. I always start with I do video editing. Like, oh, what kind of videos? I'm like, oh, for like social media. Like you own social media? Like, yeah. And they're like, what do you do? Like, what do you make? I'm like, reactions. Like reactions to what? Anime.
Yeah, I definitely feel that. Yeah.
It's definitely just like a lot of constantly thinking and brain power, just like making sure we can keep doing this and just making sure we are, like Morgan was saying, staying up with the times and just like, finding ways to improve and just like, it's just constantly on the mind. Whereas I feel like with other jobs, you can clock out. Like you're like, when you're done with work, you can like shut off your brain from all of it. And I'm finding out with this now that we technically are running our own business, it's just like constantly on the mind. Like I don't feel like I really have any days off, even though you do, because you're always thinking about it. It's always just like on the top of your mind because it belongs to us and we have to like continue to nurture it to keep it going.
Right.
So.
Yeah. I've heard it best described as like tending to a garden. It's like it's something you kind of have to be on top of every day. Otherwise, it will wilter and it sort of fades away. So like I understand it. So it's a lot. And also, Danny, that's the sort of awkward conversation of having to explain what it is, especially from my standpoint. Saying like my job is I speak to people who do YouTube, who do reactions, react anime.
Yeah.
So it can be a lot. How do you feel you've personally grown over the years with the channel?
I feel like I've become, also tying in what I said earlier, like emotional intelligence, I've become just also more open-minded to animation in general, and just how much can really be shown through animation and through storytelling, through visuals. And I wasn't really I didn't watch too many shows or movies. I wasn't really like a movie person. I would like watch a movie once. I was like that type of person, but I never really, I don't know what I was doing with my time back in the day, but I didn't watch too many shows and stuff. But it's definitely like it opens your world a lot through other people's creativities and stories that other people want to tell.
I guess for me, it's like the whole like having to constantly like be thinking of like new ideas, new ways to like improve the channel, other outlets to reach out to. What can I do to help the channel more? Because like before this, like you just have like you would go to school, you always told like what you had to do all the time. Being like our own bosses, we have to be the ones coming up and telling ourselves what to do all the time. So it's like instead of being, you're like in the leadership position now. So it's like constantly having to like think of what could I be doing now instead? If I don't have an ed to do, what should I be doing instead of that? What would be good ideas to branch out into and stuff as well? Like that, how we've been starting to do TikToks now too. And we're not doing just reaction content on there. Like Sam said, we did a skit. We started doing interviews at conventions and stuff. Like kind of stuff like that. Like just being more like open and thinking about possibilities.
Creative. Yeah, I would definitely say that I feel more confident in myself with doing this because like I feel confident that I was able to help build something that, you know, is doing well. I feel more creative. Being around Dani and Sam definitely opened up a different creative section in my brain, and I'm very thankful for that. And the community that we've built, I think I learn something new every day from someone that comments, or, you know, someone in our Discord or anyone in our community. So I feel more knowledgeable because of the channel as well.
Right. That might tie into our final question, which is beyond any monetary or financial value, what would you say is the most rewarding aspect of the channel for you?
Being able to do this like with family and friends, it's just it's such a different feeling to be able to make something that you enjoy doing. Of course, there are hardships, and I'm sure people will probably look and be like, "Oh, come on, all you do is sit in front of on a couch and watch TV." But it's just there is a lot more to it. Like we've gotten to know a lot of our patrons so well because we have Q&As every month where we sit with an intimate like group and we just like talk and hang out, and like they ask us questions, and you know we talk, we ask them questions and no, more than that, like we have a newer patron who signed up through a live action show. She had never like watched anime, and now we're like checking in on her because she's like starting to watch anime now. And, you know, we've built this bond with our community, and it's just like almost unbreakable. We have so many friends from it too that we've met at conventions, and just like even people that were like a lot of our Discord moderators who became our friends since the beginning, since we first started, are still around, and we get to see and talk to. Like, I think I don't know. I think the community aspect is just such a big part of the reward and makes it so worthwhile doing.
Absolutely.
No, yeah, I mean,
yeah,
it's fun. Like,
yeah,
I'll definitely say it's the community aspect of it. Like, I've made so many good friends thanks to this channel that I'll be forever grateful for. Like, my roommate is literally, I would have never met my roommate if we didn't start this channel.
That's
Really?
so true.
With someone, he randomly came in to help us with a game night one time, and then we became like really good friends. And now, a couple years later,
forgot.
he moved in, and now we're like best friends.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Which is
That's
it's
so
crazy to
funny.
think about.
I
Like,
forgot about that.
people ask us like, how did you guys meet? Because people like, oh, where you're from, and but not from like the same place at all. And feel like, how do you guys know each other? Like, oh, online.
Yeah, no, I forgot. We actually, because it was one of our first game nights, we were playing Among Us, and we needed help with we downloaded like the proximity chat extra plugin or whatever, and we needed help testing it. And I just saw him sitting in a random voice channel by himself, and I was like, "Hey, can you?" I like went into the voice channel and I said, "Hey, are you busy?" And he's like, I was like, "We need your help," so we dragged him in there, and yeah, now we're all friends.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely the community has been so rewarding. I mean, we just made lifelong friends. I think it's the best part. And like you learn something from people all the time. I think that's so important.
Right. That's fantastic. Yeah, I've definitely felt that. I have several friends now. I met my girlfriend through a show that I used to do, or we used to edit for. So
Oh, really?
Again, that online connection is it can be lifelong, important for yourself. We do have a final questionnaire to give to you. We can run through it. It's 10 questions down the line. Each of you can answer as best as you can.
Oh, the
I
splash
know it's a little, not to put you on the spot. Yeah. The first question just being, what was your favorite TV show of all time?
I was
Attack on
talking about
Titan.
Airbender. Oh, I could say that?
Ooh.
Okay, Attack on Titan. I thought,
Yeah.
okay, mine's Attack on Titan too.
That's it.
I'm gonna go. I really love Full Metal. I think I'm gonna say Full Metal. No. I lied. It's Finland.
Really?
Oh.
All great answers. Yeah. What was your favorite film of all time?
Oh, fuck. Shoot, I know this. That one's always so hard because, like, I always kind of do by, like, categories.
Yeah.
It's always easier.
Sometimes,
Disney's
depending on
Mulan.
the
I'm
day.
just gonna say that because, like, I'm like trying to think what movie have I seen way more than once. And I'm like, I feel like that's like the only movie that if it's back on TV, I'll just like let it play.
Yeah.
The first Scream.
Great.
I'm gonna say White Oleander.
Oh, that's a good one.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I never see that.
What stresses you out?
Everything.
I would say like a messy house. My messy house stressed me out.
My cat. My
Myself,
orange
I
cat.
stress myself out.
Yeah.
I get stressed over everything.
Fair. Definitely fair. What helps you relax?
Going to bed. I know what Sam. I know what Sam wants to say. Oh my gosh. Probably either sleeping or playing games, like video games. Takes your mind off of it. Unless I'm playing like Dark Souls, then I'm even more stressed.
I would say non-stressful video games. Like I like Mario Party. I like playing that with my brother. That relieves stress.
Cozy
Yeah.
games.
I'm gonna say eating. I
Ooh,
love.
I do love a
That's
good
probably
stress
my.
eat.
Huh?
Oh, I just say I do love a good stress eat.
Definitely. What hobby or passion do you have outside of TV and film?
Cosplaying video games, I would say.
Right. Yeah.
I'm starting to get back into being creative. But I would say probably my biggest hobby right now is like working out. Oh,
That's
that I
good. Yeah.
should have said that for the stress relief thing.
Oh yeah, that's
Oh yeah, that's a good one.
Definitely.
But also hobby is like building the muscle.
Of course. Yeah.
I would
That's a
say
good
just-
hobby.
I would say just trying new places, new food, new drinks, anything that I haven't been before.
Yeah.
Also
Exploring,
traveling.
I guess.
No, absolutely not. Yeah. I wish we had the time to go try new things more often, honestly.
Yeah.
What fictional character do you relate to or just care deeply about?
Mikasa from Attack on
I would
Titan.
say, and not like I relate to him, but Levi will always be I'm always thinking about him. He deserves the world, you know? I see edits about him, I'm still crying. He deserves everything.
He deserves the best.
I guess I mean, I don't really relate to him, but I love him. And I would say Rengoku.
Oh, of course.
Definitely one of my favorites. I think he's so pure.
Yes, that's a fantastic pick. All three fantastic picks. What is your guilty pleasure, show or film?
I know my guilty pleasure is like the Helliverse, so Has Been Hotel and I Love a Boss. Those are some of my guilty pleasures. Got my little plushies over there.
I like reality TV. I watched Love Island, and then Sam recommended this other show called Traders, which I really like too.
Yeah, I remember that one. Yeah,
I would say reality TV is my guilty pleasure.
Yeah,
Can easily shut off the brain.
Exactly. Yeah, it's a common answer. It's a good separation from the narrative stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mind. Yeah. What show or film gave you your favorite reaction experience with the channel?
Oh, Attack on Titan.
Yeah.
I want to pick one I was on it for actually the whole thing. So I feel like Attack on Titan was only there for the ending. I feel like Villain and JJK, when I try to think of like funny moments, I think about those shows because we had like a few moments. Like I always remember the parts like with Parker's talking about how he looks at men's chests all the time and then he was trying to like correct himself. I thought that was pretty, like they just have good funny moments, but also serious shows where we're also like, we'll be going from joking to like being shocked or like horrified essentially.
Yeah, JJK is good for that. We also recently watched Heavenly Delusion.
I was about to say that.
So good. I thought that was so much fun. I think that when we are all theorizing together, like it's just so much fun. Like, and we're still thinking about it.
Yeah, dude,
Yeah.
smoke
We
is just
just
coming out of my
finished
head
it.
that whole time. Just
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
was
very
a
similar
very
to Attack on
enjoyable
Titan.
experience with them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, the theorizing is some of the best stuff to go through with other people. So for sure. What show or film do you wish you could erase from your memory and react to again for the first time on camera?
Oh,
Yeah,
I would
I was
say-
trying to think of something else, but
Avatar: The Last Airbender.
yes,
Yeah.
that's a good one, Morgan. Yeah. Or
Another fantastic
Naruto, since Morgan hasn't seen it, and that
Yeah.
way we could have joined her watching it again. I just I'm like, I did not want to tackle that right now.
Yeah.
I also said Attack on Titan because I also read a lot of Attack on Titan. So when I was watching the anime, I knew a lot of the stuff already going into the anime because I read it because I'd be impatient
Right.
and didn't want to be. Because I watched it when season 1 came out, so I read a lot of it like in the off season. So to
Yeah.
erase my mind, and actually watch the show without having the manga's knowledge would be really cool, and actually get to record my reactions to it.
Yeah. Yeah, all great picks, definitely. I would love to see all those. And the final question is, what advice would you give to your past self if you can go back in time when you first started the channel?
Oh my god, I would set them up with everything that we know about audio, camera.
Throw away
Yeah.
that green blanket right away.
Yeah.
Oh no, that's iconic.
No.
Proofread.
Yes.
Yeah.
Did a better job of like saving our old footage and stuff, and like, I guess like keeping more organized in the super beginning.
Oh, turn down the exposure of some of those edits. What was
Yeah.
I doing? The exposure. I want to go back. I'm like, oh my god, why is it so overexposed? My eyes.
I would just say to like, I mean, I remember getting stressed out when I was trying to figure out how to edit. I don't know. Patience is a virtue, honestly, with that. So.
Yeah.
Yeah, Morgan completely self-taught herself, which is crazy.
Yeah. I respect that. Yes. I went to school for editing, but a lot of what I know is self-taught. And yes, it's just sort of breaking things until you figure it out.
It really is, especially and also when you start streaming. Streaming is very difficult to get set up at first.
Absolutely.
That is so frustrating. So.
Yeah. So definitely a lot of accomplishments over the years to be proud of,
Yeah.
for sure. Thank you so much, Dani, Sam, Morgan, for joining us today. I really appreciate it. It was a blast just getting to chat with three of you. I enjoyed your videos so much, especially Attack on Titan, as we talked about a lot today. It's always fun to reminisce, though.
Yeah.
Where can we find you on YouTube, social media, otherwise?
Everything at the React Pack.
Mm-hmm.
React
Nice and
Pack.
clean.
Good.
Yep.
Easy.
Yep.
everything,
Gaming
yes.
channel the React Pack Gaming.
The React Pack Gaming is literally what
Keeping
it's
it
called.
simple. Keeping it simple.
Yeah,
So far, we've been able to claim all those handles. So
that's good. Yeah, good SEO. Yeah. You can find me at Nerd Chronic across social media. You can find us at Passionfruit for us across social media. You can find our links to our Discord and Patreon below in the description and the video. And we'll catch everyone on the next episode.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.